Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Super Mario Galaxy, Part 36. Part 36, I believe. Fellas, welcome back. Hey, okay, so there's something I gotta explain, fellas. First of all, it's been a month since we last recorded the series, but if you may notice, we are at 108 stars instead of where we were at, at the end of Part 35, which was 106. The reason being that yesterday, or it might have been the day before, I actually can't really remember, but either yesterday or the day before, I actually tried to record an episode of this series, okay? Tried to record an episode of this series, and I had my audio settings wrong. So, from my understanding, and I may have this off, but the way that I basically had my audio set up was typically what I like to do in most scenarios is I like to have two different audio tracks, right? One for my mic, one for my gameplay, and then we balance out the audio as need be, right? We balance out the audio as need be. It does its thing, whatever, it's cool. I also really hope this isn't a timed one. I want to like ramble for a bit. God, it's a timed one. I can already tell by the music. The good thing, okay, yeah, it's a fairly linear one. But yeah, my audio settings were basically set up in such a weird way where my game audio was routed to both the same audio track that my mic uses, but also it had its own audio track as well. So basically, what you were hearing was two instances of the gameplay audio, and then one instance of my mic, which just isn't good, man. And also on top of that, you know, of course, to one extent, you could just kind of be like, well, couldn't you just remove the audio track that contained, you know, maybe just exclusively the gameplay? The problem is that then at that point, right? At that point, what we'd be dealing with is an audio track that has both my mic on it and, my gameplay audio on it. And the reality is that the way that my mic settings are set up, they are actually very much meant to be separated so that I can further up the balance of the mic later. And that's not what I got last time, fellas. That is, that's because it was all on the same audio track, I wasn't able to properly do that little format. And so therefore, man, that recording was pretty much just a bust. And, you know, I've technically had this situation happen once before because, you know, anytime that I would maybe have a failed recording, but I have already done the 2 stars, I would just redo them in the episode, but we wouldn't technically make progress in the save, right? But I decided, because of these purple coin missions being the way they are, that I would actually just go ahead and mess with them. I do, in fact, have 70. Thank you, Mr. or Mrs. B. I don't really know which one you prefer. Give me this. Okay, this is a very straightforward purple coin mission, to be honest. Let's jump up here. Oh, no. That's bad. Okay, that's really bad, actually. Oh my god, how did we get back up? So this is, yeah, this is a hairy situation. Fellas, I have a lot to talk to you guys about, by the way, and I talked about this when I was last trying to record this episode, but, of course, that episode never happened to see the light of day, so I get to explain this again. Fellas, there has been a lot of changes and adjustments to the general environment in my room that I tend to record all this stuff in, and it's a lot of very, very positive changes. Also, amongst other things, and I'll probably show it off. Here, hold on. Amongst other things, yeah, this happened. Yeah, I got this sucker a lot sooner than expected. I'm going to be real with you. I got it a lot sooner than expected, and boy, let me tell you, fellas, has it been a lovely experience. I don't think, just to be completely upfront with you guys, I don't think we're getting all of these in 15 seconds. Yeah, I don't think... Oh, yeah, I don't think that's happening. Yeah, they definitely designed this in such a way where they intend for you to, like, not fall off at any point. That's brutal. that's really awkward. I'm just floating there. But yeah, so I got this way sooner than expected. I'm going to be honest with you. And so far, listen, I've had it for under a week. Fellas, I have had the Switch 2 for under a week, but it has been nothing but amazing to me. Really, it's been truly amazing. I actually had to get another USB-A to USB-C, USB 3.0, that's a lot of words, not capture card, but USB port, USB cable, sorry, I can't word. I had to get basically another USB cable for to power my external capture card for my Elgato, because I don't know if it was a thing of it got a little lost in the moving of a bunch of stuff out of my room, but that cable supposedly got lost to time. It probably does still exist somewhere in the confines of this house, but I have no clue where it is. Now, that being said, that cord that was originally provided with the Elgato that I have, which I have the HD60S, I do not believe I have the Plus. I believe it is just the straight-up HD60S. It's, how do I word it? I think something I always noticed that really tended to feel a little weird on the Elgato, or on the old setup, was that there was always this very inherent feeling latency to a lot of the stuff that I did, especially, well, I say especially the Switch. Switch was the only thing I used my capture card for, and still is. But I actually, I don't know what it is, but we basically got a 10 gigabits per second data transfer speed cable. We got it off of Amazon for about $10, which is a little on the pricier side compared to a lot of the cable stuff you can find on Amazon. Okay, let's try and not fall down here. Don't. That was okay. I knew that was going to be the biggest problem area. If we're good here, I think we should just be good. Well, hold on. Give this little section. I just want to see. Can I just like? We're gonna borderline just like not mess with it, you know, that much. We're gonna like kind of cheese it a little bit if we can. But yeah. So I don't know what the original gigabits per second transfer speed on the original cable of the Elgato is, but whatever this one's doing, it just feels a little better. It might be a placebo effect, and it might not actually be any different. I did hear something about how the minimum that you needed for an Elgato to function was you needed... Okay, cool. That wasn't that bad. You need apparently 5 gigabits per second. I've also, however, heard some people say that you need 10, which is what I have. So maybe the original was 10, meaning that I would have to assume that the old cable would have functionally the same amount of latency as this one. But this one just, I don't know what it is, man. It just feels different. Now, you guys may notice if I go into this, by the way, star 109. That was not a bad one. We had a little snag there, but wasn't that bad. You guys may notice I only have a whopping 2 games. Yes, I got the Mario Kart World bundle. Dude, it's so sick. It's so sick. We will be doing that Mario Kart World Let's Play, by the way. It will be happening, and I think, okay, I don't typically love to spoil. I don't typically love to spoil what games. Ooh, we should actually go there. It would be a great break. That would be a great break, actually, from the, what is it, the Purple Coin missions, I feel. That would actually be a great break from the Purple Coin missions. Sorry if you heard me have to lean over a little bit. But, yeah, so obviously, visibly, you guys only saw I have 2 games on here right now. That being Mario Kart World and 3D All-Stars. 3D All-Stars is simply just the only physical game I've put in this sucker so far. And I know that seems weird. It's like, wow, you've had this thing for several days, but you haven't tested every game under the sun. That is because I've been way too busy with this sucker. Mario Kart World is amazing, man. This game is great. Mario Kart World has single-handedly got to be some of the most engaged I have felt in playing a Mario Kart game in so long. In probably my whole life, genuinely. And I know that seems very bold to say when I've only played the game for a few days, but the only game that has ever personally felt like it rivals this same amount of creative expression, and, you know, there's also, obviously, with all the tech in Mario Kart World, there's a skill ceiling like no other, But I just think that there's so much expression you can do in the way that you navigate yourself in that game, whether it be in something like free roam. Let's go, we cheese that. Whether it be in something like free roam or if it's something like, you know, in an actual race. Maybe you're doing competitive lounge stuff. Maybe you're just doing standard online, whatever. There is so much creative expression in that game to the point where I genuinely... It puts me in such a different headspace that I don't think any other Mario Kart game has. Genuinely. The closest comparison that I probably feel to the creative skill expression that you get out of Mario Kart World is maybe Mario Kart Wii, right? And Mario Kart Wii, I think, will forever and always hold some of, if not the most special place in my heart out of any Mario Kart game, really. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a game that, like, I felt had a lot of really cool stuff in it, but the skill expression felt very stiff. Everything felt very just very watered down. Like, there was tech in that game. If you ever saw stuff with the motion glider tech, there was tech in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it wasn't the tech the kind of tech that you'd get out of Mario Kart Wii. And something that I think was kind of interesting about Mario Kart Wii, and this, I guess this kind of just applies to every single Mario Kart game up to this point, is that you kind of don't, how do I word it? You kind of don't have intentional skill expression come through a lot of the time. You know, I'm not sitting here and saying that a lot of these strats that people find in stuff like Mario Kart Wii need to be intentional tech in order to be proper, but I think what has been lacking in some regards for me is an approach in a Mario Kart game where Nintendo just says screw it, and they just they give you some tools that allow you to do whatever in God's name it is that you're gonna do, okay? And they create it with the intention that it is something that will be very creatively used in ways that Nintendo probably didn't initially think about. And I think Mario Kart World is the perfect, like, it is the perfect interpretation of that, in my opinion. It's the perfect interpretation because you have some of the cool stuff you can do with the rail grinding. I've actually been time trialing a bunch, which that's another thing as well, right? I'm gonna try and not lose my train of thought here, but I've been time trialing a bunch of the tracks, which is something that I have never been bothered to do in a Mario Kart game, because typically a lot of the strats that you would learn to get a good time, you know, you don't need to necessarily rival. You don't need to rival. Ooh, okay, well, back it up. Yep, back it up. That was crazy how fast that moved. But you know, a lot of the tech that you would have to learn in something like a Mario Kart Wii, right, is tech that is very clearly not intended. Like, a good example... I just had to put my hand in my head in that one, bro. That was bad, man. That was really bad. But you know, like, a lot of the tech in that game, it's not as accessible. And I think that's the key word, is that accessibility matters. And I think what's happening with Mario Kart World is that the tech is very clearly laid out to you on what you can do. I don't think there's a lot of unintended tech that you can do outside of the gimmick things that they give you in the game, like wall riding and, you know, rail grinding. I think a lot of the tech that you do, now you'll have some scenarios where, this is something that I've very commonly seen in some tracks, where you will do these, like, glitchy wall detaches, which is essentially you detaching from, like, barely... This is proving to be more of an issue than I thought, but this is actually, I think, one that I'm okay with losing a bunch and then still just talking over, to be honest. This is one that shouldn't be difficult. I'm probably just kind of on autopilot. I haven't consistently played this game in a hot minute, but, you know, I think that Mario Kart World just has so much cool tech you can do, while also having it at the same time be so intentional, right? There's so many techs that while not everything is open to you in the track in terms of the area surrounding that map and the open world, what I do think is interesting. Why did I just stand there, man? I'm like, my brain is turning off this time. That's okay. That's okay. We're sitting here. We're vibing. But I think that, while not everything is available to you, and, some areas are closed off when you're driving the actual track, there are some areas that you'll probably end up finding through free roam of all things. You'll start messing with through free roam, and then you realize, oh shoot, is that area closed off in is that area closed off in the actual track? If not, let me try and utilize that. And something I've seen, I've seen a lot of TikTok kind of like edit accounts like try and be like, guys, I found this sick shortcut on Airship Fortress or something, and it's like a trick that you legitimately cannot do. You can't do it unless if it's in free roam, because that area is like closed off. Okay, well this is... Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is bad. Hit me. Okay, so you have to be quick, man. This is the only problem I have with doing some of the later game stuff here, man, is so much of it takes so long, right? So much of it takes so long, and I don't know how to feel about it. Okay, I think the purple coins are being a lot more difficult than I remembered. Oh god. But yeah, Mario Kart World has generally just been nothing but a pleasant experience so far. I will say, if any of you guys have been around on Mario Kart World or heard anything about the community surrounding the game, you may have heard about the weird update that they pushed about 2 to 3 weeks ago, okay? Now, the reason I'm bringing this up right now is because I actually wasn't... There we go. There we go. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna lock in a little. Ooh. See, this song is actually wild to hear, because this song is actually in, what is it? What are we doing here? Oh, I hate this. Oh, I don't know why, but the movement's really throwing me off here. Oh, I don't like it. Yeah, this song's actually in Mario Kart World, by the way. It's a remixed version, but it's a really good remixed version, as a matter of fact. But yeah, Mario Kart World has been nothing but a pleasant experience. That update that pushed about 2 to 3 weeks ago, though, is pretty bad. I'm gonna be honest. It's not a good update. So this was obviously this was an update that released prior to me ever getting my Switch 2 or getting the game. But it was an update that basically changed the way that the random button works. I think as a whole, I don't think it was actually just online. Hey, am I missing something, or? Okay, I was like, dude, what am I missing, man? Like, actually, what am I missing? But there was an update that was pushed that basically changed the way the random button functions, where instead of it giving you a mixture of playing the connected tracks that go from one track to another, which I've purposefully called intermission tracks anytime I was mentioning this game pre-release, I'm still personally going to call them intermission tracks. Basically, the way that it would go is online, and I'm going to take the time to explain this 111, by the way, very sick. I'm going to take the time to explain this because I think that it's kind of something that is pretty interesting, and I think it would be very weird to pick up on in the next episode. But basically, there is the way that online works, okay, to put it simply, is that, here, I'll have the birds chirp in the background while I talk about this. The way that online works is that you will go into a lobby, you'll goof around for a little bit, and when you get to the track selection, it kind of works like 8 Deluxe did, where you get the option between 3 tracks. Most of the time, what happens, though, is that these 3 tracks have an arrow driving between them. If there is an arrow, this implies that it will be an intermission track driving from the previous track that you did to that track. Sometimes you will have the case, though, where that arrow is not always there. If that is the case, you will be driving 3 laps around that track. You will not be driving to that track, right? And so what happened is a lot of people, obviously, I think if you're going to be in the worldwide space, if you're going to want to grind, get competitive, get a little competitive with it, most people aren't going to want to do the intermission tracks. And I think that's fair, right? I think it's completely fine. Even if I like that stuff. So what people ended up realizing is that if you pick random, it will guaranteed give you a track and it will give you 3 laps on that track. It will not give you an intermission. So Nintendo, I guess, saw this and made a change to how the random button works, where now most of the time, we're talking like maybe a good like 80% of the time, I've seen a lot of people throw out like random percents. I don't think anyone concrete knows, to be honest with you. It's kind of weird that percents are just getting thrown out there like they're fact, but, you know, I digress. But basically, you know, about 80% of the time, the way the random button will actually work is it'll pick a random option between the 3 that were on there, meaning that most of the time when you pick random, the random option will get you an intermission. So Nintendo effectively took away the option from the user to more accessibly have a 3-lap track, which, by the way, again, we were already kind of having to circumvent because you didn't give a proper option to consistently play 3 laps, and I think it's just weird. But nonetheless, things were kind of mended a fair bit because the community banded together. There is a Mario Kart World Discord server that has, and I'm not joking, I think about 40,000 members. And it is dedicated to being able to go into these friend lobbies and just create rooms to do these like 4 race Grand Prix, drop out whenever you want, it's okay. And you play most of the time 3 laps. There are some people who are willing to play some intermissions, but a lot of the time if you're going there, you will 99% of the time be playing 3-lap tracks. And I just think that's great. I think the fact that resource is great, but at the same time, I think it's a circumvention to a problem that shouldn't exist. I think Nintendo should be giving the option to the user to be able to select 3 laps or to select intermissions and have them be in their own vibe, because I think there's an appeal to both of them. I think some people will say what they will about intermissions, but I think intermissions have their own charm that a lot of people are kind of underrating, in my personal opinion. That being said, regardless of what you think of it, regardless of how I feel about intermissions and how I enjoy them, you should always, 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 always have the option as a player to play the way you want. An option should never be removed, and an option was taken away from the people who prefer to play 3-lap tracks, which is what is always been the pre-established, way that people play Mario Kart. So, I don't know. Weird update, but I have been a part of that Discord server, and it's been fun. And a lot of times if I want to go play intermissions, I'll play on Worldwides. I'll play on Worldwides since they're pretty much 99% of the time intermissions now. But I digress. Hey, that was a long ramble. Dude, I love when we tend to do that at the end of these episodes. It's it's all great and fun. But fellas, that is going to do it for this episode of Super Mario Galaxy, part 36. Hey, feels good to be back to this series. If you guys are wondering, by the way, despite the fact that I got a new setup thing going, which I'll probably talk about in the next episode, Archipelago Multi-World Randomizer is still on the docket, but I think I want to try and work on this Let's Play a little bit more just because we're kind of close to the end of it, and I'm thinking that after this Let's Play is done, we might move on to this game. Yeah, we might be doing Mario Kart World. And it's going to be a great time, but, I figured, Galaxy's been kind of ignored for about a month now. We need to jump back on it. So, anyways, fellas, that's going to do it for this episode of Super Mario Galaxy. Fellas, if you enjoyed this video, maybe like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. It's your life. Do what you want. I don't really care. And I will see you fellas in the next video. Bye-bye, guys.